What's happening, hot steppers? So yeah, I was outside and now I'm inside because it's hot out there. So anyway, I was thinking about telling y'all one of my car stories. I think I had alluded to wanting to do a video about my car in the last video, but I had one of you to reach out to me um, to share more concerns about my run-in with the cop stories in the previous one of the previous videos. So, like I said in that video, it's part of my everyday life. You know, I just never know, and it's always something that I constantly have in the back of my mind that, you know, if I get pulled over, then I have to make sure that I explain my condition because you just don't know. Anywho, I don't know if it happens to anybody else. I'm just talking from my experience. But anyway, so uh, this high stepper who contacted me was talking about it and saying how they hate that I have to deal with stuff like that, you know, kind of that kind of thing. Anywho, and I just made the comment that those weren't my only two stories. I have several more, and it you know, and I guess to me, but I was so calm about it because, like I said, it's part of my everyday life. So, but to this fellow high stepper, it was it was shock that I. So anyway, it's the best way I can describe it. So, um, I don't want to get too bogged down with talking about these kinds of things um, all the time, but I'll try to share one more story for now, and then maybe in the next video I'll talk about uh, my car because I think I had made an allusion to talking about my car in the previous video. Did I just say that? Y'all, I think I might have to start writing a script or something. I don't know. But then I wouldn't be me. Okay, but anyway, okay, so um, one of the other cop stories that I can remember, and here's the thing, it didn't happen yesterday, it didn't happen a couple of months ago. It happened maybe a year or two ago. Um, I was on my way home, and I believe I was on my way home from work actually, because it was yeah, something like that. I was coming from the direction of my job, and I knew I was on my way home in the story. Okay, and I was in it's 2 lane going in one direction and 2 lanes going in the opposite direction. Well, I was in my lane behind this van, and then there was like one or two other cars behind me. Well, the van was going super slow. I think the speed limit was, well, I know the speed limit was 35 in the stretch where I was at the time. But the van was going like maybe 25 or something like that. And I always think it's funny that you get pulled over for speeding, for going over the speed limit, when it's also a ticketable offense if you're going too slow or, you know, going below the speed limit. But I don't ever hear about anybody getting a ticket for going too slow. But anywho, the point is the van's going around 25 to 28 miles an hour. The speed limit in this particular section is like 35. So I wasn't sure if something was going on with the van or not, because, you know, sometimes something could happen to a car and it could just stop by no fault of the driver or anything like that. So I'm keeping an eye on the van, and I'm also keeping an eye on the car that's behind me because they were coming up a little hot, a little fast. So this van is crawling, so I just decided, well, I'm gonna just move over into this other lane and just get around the van, right? So makes sense. So when I move over, I noticed that the van speeds up a little bit. The van speeds up a little bit and then starts to move over into my lane. So I kind of pumped my brakes a little bit because I was kind of taken aback. I'm glad I was paying attention, but I pumped my brakes a little bit and honked my horn just once. I wouldn't land on it. Honked my horn just once, and the van straightened up. By this time, the car behind me had moved over. Well, then I sped up a little bit to just get away from the van, just because of that. And when I sped up just a little bit, the van starts to speed up, and the van sped up and then tried to come over into my lane. And y'all, there was by that time there was other cars coming from the opposite direction coming down our way, and so I couldn't get out of, I couldn't maneuver fast enough to do it safely enough to move over into the opposite lane and move back, you know, to give myself room to move. So I just gunned it. Not I just put my foot on the gas and took off a little bit, just to get out of the way, because I had heard and seen stuff where people intentionally try to get hit for insurance purposes and stuff. And that almost made me feel like that's what they were doing. But I'm not gonna put that on them because I don't know. And so right when I'm speeding past this van to avoid getting hit and to avoid an accident, this cop comes out of nowhere, y'all. And I didn't even speed up that much. Like I said, that stretch was 35. I think I don't even know. Anyway, it was a couple of years ago. All I know is the next thing I know, there's this cop coming, and where I was by this time, there's this middle section where, you know, you can either turn right or turn left, you know, to get out of traffic and make your turns. Okay, so that's there, and then we still have the two lanes, and the two lanes going in the opposite directions. Got it. All right, so then when the cop pulled me over, instead of pulling to the right, all the way over to the right, because of all the traffic, I just pulled over into a section of that middle turning area, in a place where there was no way that a car could turn, because there was nowhere for cars to turn either way. You know what I'm talking about. I hope you know what I'm talking about. Anywho, so I had pulled over right there, and I immediately put my hands on the wheel once again. Y'all, from the moment I saw that cop in my rearview mirror when he was walking my car, I already knew it. I wasn't getting good vibes at all. He was going off. I mean, he was already yelling, hadn't even spoken to me or nothing. He was just yelling. I don't know who he was mad at or what happened during his day, but whenever he asked me a question, even though he was yelling, number one, I was scared to answer, but number two, when I would try to answer, he would interrupt me and jump in with his words, not jump at me, but jump in with his words and keep on yelling. So I just didn't talk at all, because I said, no matter what, in my mind, I was saying, no matter what I do, he's gonna just keep yelling. So then all I heard was, I need you to get out of your car. And I said, well, can I ask you? And before I could even get it out, he was barking at me again. So I just said, oh, okay, sir. I'll do that. And so I guess I was moving a little too slow for him, because, you know, I was trying to do the right thing and throw my arm out the window and open my door from the outside. Y'all, right when I put my hand out to open the door from the outside, that cop grabbed my wrist. And for anyone who doesn't know, and cerebral palsy affects people differently depending on severities and degrees and all that stuff. So, but for me, if I get grabbed, my muscles automatically tense up, and so I was trying to explain that to the cop. I was like, I have cerebral palsy. My case cerebral palsy, and my muscles tense up, and so I'm not trying to resist you. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. It's my muscles. It's my muscles that are tightening. I am not resisting. I just kept saying it. And he was just, he kept yelling, and I never raised my voice. He just kept yelling and kept yelling. And then he got on this kick on, why didn't you pull over to the right side of the road, the far right? That's where you were supposed to pull over. You shouldn't have pulled over here. And I was trying to explain to him, I said, did you not see the traffic that was coming? And he was like, well, no, you should pull up, all that. And I'm just sitting here going, oh okay. And then he started talking about why he pulled me over, that I was speeding, and I said, but did you? I said I just sped up because I was trying to avoid getting hit, and I was trying to avoid an accident. That's the only reason. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have been speeding. Blah blah blah. And I was like, but there was no other way out of it. But you can't rationalize with somebody who is being that way. So anyway, I've got my car door open, and I swing my body around so that my feet are firmly on the ground before I stand up out of the car. Because for stability for me. Well, when I did that, and because I didn't immediately stand up after I did that, that almost set him off too, because then he went to go grab at me again, and to be the motion of trying to grab it, because I'm tensing up right now. The motion of somebody coming to grab at me or whatever, I automatically tense up, and it's not something that I'm doing on purpose. It's an automatic response. And so when he went to grab me by my arm, like I said, I didn't jerk away from it. I just tensed up. My muscles tensed up. And I kept having to repeat myself, officer, I have cerebral palsy. I'm not trying to resist you. I'm not trying to resist you. It's my muscles. My muscles tense up. That's all it is. It's just a condition. It happens. I'm not resisting you. It happens when I get excited. It happens when I get nervous. It happens, in these kind of situations. So I'm not trying to resist at all, because I didn't want him to accuse me of resisting and then end up throwing me on the ground. Well, it was almost like he wasn't even listening to me, because he started saying, stop moving, and I'm like, I'm not moving, I'm not trying to. I said, it is my muscles. I have cerebral palsy. I just kept saying it. I have cerebral palsy. I can't help it. And I mean, the people who know me, like, especially if they see me stumble or something and reach out, you can feel it, because I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, so y'all, I just had it in my vision that this man was gonna throw me to the ground. I did. I had it. I mean, he didn't, because I don't know what came over him, but for like a split second, it was like he became just a rational human being, and he let my arm go, and he let me sit back down in my car. He shut my door, and he looked at me, and he's like, and y'all, I'm not even looking at him. I'm looking straight ahead, because I'm about to cry, and I don't want him to see me cry. So I'm looking straight ahead, and I'm just praying. And it was just like, he got real quiet, so I'm looking at him at the corner of my eye, and he did one of those, and then he goes, I'm gonna let you go. And I didn't get a ticket or anything, and But just going through that experience was heart, it was heartbreaking for me, because I was like, what would have happened to me? What if he had thrown me to the ground? What would have happened to me? So even though I have people in my life who say, well, you got to respect the cops, you got to do what they say, you got to do this, that, and the third. Okay, that's all fine and good. And I was. And I didn't do any more or any less than what he asked me to do. But I wanted him to understand why my muscles and my body was doing the things it was doing that was beyond my control, because I didn't want to get in trouble for stuff that I could not control. So anyway, like I said, he ended up barking at me. Was like, I'm gonna let you go. And I said, oh, okay, thank you, officer. And like I said, I wasn't looking at him. I looked straight ahead. And I saw him writing something down, and he handed it to me. And instead of a ticket, he had written his stuff out on a warning, and I used to have it on my refrigerator, but I took it down because I don't need that reminder. So yeah, that's what happened. And when he told me that and he gave me that paper, I did not move from that spot. My car was turned off and everything. I did not move from that spot, because I wanted to make sure that cop was gone before I even cranked my car back up. Crank. Y'all know, before I started my car again. So I sat there because I was shaking, and I just had to calm myself down enough to get my muscles to relax, because I was so stiff and I was so drawn up to where I was like this. And I waited, and he finally left. It was like he was trying to outwait me, like he was waiting on me to go first. And I was like, "Nah, fam, I'm not moving. I'm not moving." And so he finally moved out from behind me and got on down the road, and then ended up going down this little side road. I guess it's the same old side road he came out of to get at me. So as soon as I was sure that he was gone, I turned my car on. I thanked the good Lord. I moved over into the lane that I was closest to, and I pushed it on down the road, and I got home safely. But that whole situation could have turned out a whole lot different. So I don't know. So even when I'm doing what I'm asked, and I'm respecting the orders that are barked at me, I don't know. And I may, thinking back on it now, I don't know. I have no words. I don't know what would have happened. I don't even know if I would have been here, because that was a big old man. So that's another cop story for you. So yeah. I did what I was supposed to do, and it was almost not good enough. I don't know, but I'm here to tell you about it. So to that high stepper who asked me about that, or who was talking to me about that, there's another story for you. I do have respect for authority, but my highest respect goes to the ultimate authority, and y'all already know who it is. Y'all know Jesus is my homie, and he takes care of me. So that's how I That's how I get by. That's how I take every step that I take. Because without Jesus, I'm nothing anyway. So, but if you don't know him, get to know him. I'm not trying to push him on you or nothing, but the relationship with him is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So you can try it, and I promise you won't have any regrets. But anyway, y'all keep your knees up. I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy, and do a couple of high steps for me. Get those knees all the way up because you know I can't. I'll talk to y'all again soon.